My name is Rutger Bregman, and I'm the author of the new book, Humankind, A Hopeful History. It's a book about a simple but quite radical idea. What if most people, deep down, are pretty decent? In the past 15 to 20 years, there has been a silent revolution in science. Scientists from very diverse disciplines, psychologists, anthropologists, archaeologists, sociologists, have moved from a quite cynical view of human nature to a much more positive and hopeful view, and have actually been arguing that we are hardwired to be friendly and to cooperate, and that actually this is our true superpower as a species. Now, I think this is a quite revolutionary idea, because what you assume in other people is what you get out of them. If you assume that most people deep down are just selfish, as we have been assuming for the past 30 to 40 years, then you'll start designing your institutions around that idea, right? Your schools, your workplaces, your democracies, and that's what you get out of people. What you assume in other people is what you get out of them. Now, if we move to a new, more hopeful, more realistic view of human nature, I think that changes everything. And it's also a quite subversive idea, because if we don't trust each other, if we think that, people are deep down are just selfish, then we need them, then we need the CEOs and the presidents and the bureaucrats and the generals and the monarchs and the kings and you name it. We need those in power to keep each other in check. But if we actually believe in each other, if we believe that most people can be trusted, then we can move to a very different kind of society, a much more egalitarian kind of society where we bring out the best in each other. That's the simple but quite radical idea that I'm defending in my book, Humankind, A Hopeful History. Now, it's a strange time to be publishing a book. I've worked on this for 5 years. For 5 years, I've tried to connect the dots, and I'm just trying to show that there's something bigger going on here, because there are so many brilliant specialists who have been working on this new view of human nature, but they often don't realize from each other that they're not alone. So at one point I was interviewing a psychologist who had been doing fascinating work on the so-called bystander theory, which is the idea that during times of crises or when there's an emergency, say someone's drowning or someone's attacked in the street, that we don't help. And this psychologist actually showed that in 90% of all cases, based on CCTV camera footage, right? So real incidents, in 90% of all cases, people actually help each other. And so I told her about new theories from biology, where biologists lately have been talking about the concept of survival of the friendliest, which has been happening in our evolution. That for thousands of years, it was actually the friendliest among us who had the most kids and so had the biggest chance of passing on their genes to the next generation. And I told her about this, and she said, "Oh my God, so it's been happening there as well." And this is the only thing that I've been trying to do, is just to connect the dots, to show that there's something bigger going on, that the zeitgeist is changing and that we're moving into a new era right now. And still, it's a strange time to be publishing it right now. I mean, we're in the midst of a pandemic, and lots of authors are, postponing their books and wondering, what to do. And I thought about that as well, but I still thought, in the end, that we got to publish it right now. Even though, many booksellers are in difficult times, and maybe readers, don't have the time right now to read 400 or 500 pages of human history. But I think it's still important, because especially in the midst of a crisis, especially in the midst of a pandemic, we need a more hopeful view of human history. We need a more hopeful view of who we really are ourselves. Because now we are not going to be able to survive with the values of the past 30 to 40 years. We're not going to survive with more emphasis on competition and selfishness. Right now, we need friendliness, cooperation, and we need hope. And I hope that my book will give you a little bit of that. Thank you.